Hello, my name is Keshwani. It's Keshwani, Keshwani. I have been solving math problems for GRE out of this book here, practicing to take the GRE General Test, the 10th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. The problem that I'm about to solve is the one that you're going to find on page number 291, problem number 1. It's a quantitative comparison question. Quantitative comparison questions. There are 15 of them in a set. This is number 1 on a scale of 1 to 15. This is number 1. An easy question. Let's see what we can do. They want you to compare two quantities, n over n plus 1 and 1 minus 1 over n plus 1. And they tell you, and we are told that n is more than 1. Before I actually solve this question, let me ask you this particular question here. Can you tell me which quantity is bigger, 5 plus 1 or 4 plus 1? And if you're sitting there and saying to yourself, of course 6 is bigger than 5, then you're missing the point. The point here is that these questions are called quantitative comparison, which is why I make a point of writing down the word computation. I write down the word computation and then I cross it out to emphasize the fact that these are not quantitative computation. You're not being asked to compute two quantities. You're simply asked to compare the two quantities. So if you ask me which quantity is bigger here, I'm going to say to myself, this one appears in both places. That one plays no role. And then of course 5 is more than 4. That's all. The same thing is going on here. You see? There is a 1 here, a positive 1 here, and positive 1 here. That one plays no role. So basically what they want me to compare, are these two quantities. N over n plus 1. Let me put in the black marker so you can see it better. N over n plus 1 versus negative 1 over n plus 1. And then after that, what you have to realize is that since we are told that n is more than 1, we know that n is positive. If n is positive, then n plus 1 is positive. This bottom quantity, the denominator of this left hand side column is a positive. 1 over a positive number is going to be a positive number. We got a negative on the top, so it's basically 1 over some positive number over another positive number. This whole thing is a negative number. And this, because n is more than 1, which is a positive, so we have positive over positive number plus a 1 is another positive, which is more than 1. This negative is less than 1. Hence this quantity, this is more than 1, this is less than 1. The answer is A. That's all. That's it, we're done. Now if you didn't want to do all of this thing, you could actually plug in a number and figure out very quickly the answer. And if you want to do that, I can do that as well. So I'm going to rewrite here n over n plus 1 and then negative 1 over n plus 1. You should be able to see immediately that since n is more than 1, this is a positive number. For example, if I plug in 2 for n, plug in n equal to 2, then you will end up with 2 over 3 versus negative 1 over 3. This is a negative number. This is a negative number. This is a positive number. Of course, the answer is A. That's all. You're done. It was a fairly simple, fairly straightforward question. 90% of the people who took the exam got this question right. Let's move on to number 2. I'm going to erase all of this then. Let's move on to number 2. But the key in that question was realizing that because the positive n appears in both columns, just get rid of it. Don't waste your time dealing with that bloody thing. It serves no purpose. The only reason why it is there is to annoy the hell out of you. Don't let them annoy you. Just get rid of it. Let me quickly look at the back. Let me quickly take a look at the back of the camera. See how much time I have taken. That will tell me how to pace myself in the second problem. Just 1 second. I'm 5 minutes and 21 seconds into it, so let's do number 2. They tell me number 2, now we're doing number 2. This is a tag that I use for the YouTube, so if you're searching for a particular question, just type in GRE-10E for the 10th edition of the book. Then the page number, page 291, dash, and then QC stands for quantitative comparison, number 2. And you type that in a YouTube search, just search for it and anywhere on the internet and it will pop right up. Let's take a look at number 2. I'm told that Maria purchases 3 pounds of candy for $8. 3 pounds of candy X for $8. Notice how I read this thing. They actually tell us that she buys 3 pounds for $7.98. To which I will say, the hell with it. I'm not doing $7.98. I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood to do $7.98. $7.98 in the world that I live in is $8. So she buys 3 pounds. So she spends $8 buying 3 pounds. So that's her price per pound. That's how much she pays per pound. And then they go on to tell me that she buys another type of candy, which is for $11. She buys 5 pounds. That's all. So that's your column A and that's your column B, because they want you to compare the price paid per pound for candy X and the price per pound for candy Y. So let's do it then. I'm going to get rid of these notations here so we can manipulate them easily. Just cross multiply. This times this. 3 times 11 is 33. And 5 times 8 is 40. There you go. Since 40 is more than 33, the answer is A. That's all. Now, in case you're wondering what I'm doing here by cross multiplying, what I'm technically doing is, I'm going to show you what I'm technically doing here. Okay, let me show you what exactly is going on here. What I'm doing here is that I'm multiplying both columns by 5. If I multiply both columns by 5, this 5 drops out. And then I multiply both columns by 3. And when I do that, this column drops out. So I end up with 8 times 5, which is 40, 3 times 11, which is 33, which is what I did earlier. Before earlier I was showing you it was 8 over 3 and 11 over 5. It's going to be the same thing, you see. 8 times 5, 8 times 5. You start from the bottom, go to the top. 8 times 5 is what we have here. And then you start from the bottom, go to the top. 3 times 11 is what I have here. 3 times 11, which is 33. Since 40 is more than 33, the answer is A. That's all. That's all. I hope you found it helpful. If you wish to get hold of me for personal private tutoring, face-to-face tutoring, or over the phone tutoring, or over the internet online tutoring, or if you wish to purchase any kind of solutions manuals from me, if there is anything at all that I can help you with for your preparation for GRE, or for that matter GMAT, if you I don't know why you'll be watching this clip if you're preparing for GMAT, but perhaps you know somebody. Just get hold of me. Go to my website at www.prep, for4gre.com, and send me an email. Alright? You can also reach me at www.keshwani, K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, KeshwaniPrep, KeshwaniPrep.com, and send me an email. Alright? Thank you very much. Bye-bye.